From Montevideo, Uruguay, a historic night as the Octagon makes its maiden voyage to this country with Michael Bisping. I'm Brendan Fitzgerald. Let's recap the night, and in our main event, a flat-out dominant performance for the champion, Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, it was a total shutout from start to finish. Carmouche was a worthy contender. She tried her best to get it done, but, you know, it was too little. She couldn't do it, and that's no shame to her. She takes a moral victory in the fact that she went 5 rounds and she didn't take that much damage. But Shevchenko was just one step ahead. She was too fast. The combinations were too good. The wrestling was too good, and the control on the ground just far too strong. Technically, mentally, everything one step ahead.
She had the pressure of the champion, pressure as a giant favorite in this matchup. The biggest question now for Valentina: what's next?
What's next? Well, listen, there's a fight with Amanda Nunes, the trilogy fight there. That would be great to see. Jessica Andrade, if she's successful in China, she called her out. Caitlin Chukagian. The problem for Shevchenko is finding worthy contenders because she's just beating everybody and she's making it look easy.
Well, in our co-main event, it was Mike Perry taking on Vicente Luque.
Wow.
One of the most looked forward to fights of the summer.
Word.
Once they booked it, people were kind of circling their calendars for this one. It lived up to it, and Vicente Luque extends his winning streak to 6.
It really was an incredible fight. For one, Mike Perry, that was probably the best walkout I've ever seen. Grabs his girlfriend, leans her over, does a little dance, gives her a kiss. Loved it. Pure entertainment from start to finish. And then the fight starts, and it gets even better. 2 knockout artists standing there, trading toe-to-toe, giving everything they've got to knock each other out. They very rarely took a backward step, and at the end of the fight, Luque trying to finish that guillotine. The blood is pouring out of Mike Perry. I mean, it was a graphic moment. It was a vicious moment, but it was fantastic. And then you see the nose of Mike Perry. My word, listen, if he follows his nose, he's going to be going round in circles. He needs some surgery, but God bless that man, and God bless Mike Perry. And that was incredible.
And a huge result for Vicente Luque to extend that winning streak against probably his highest profile opponent in the Octagon so far. Before that, Volkan, Oezdemir, Ilir, Latifi, originally booked for Stockholm in early June. They would pushed it back to Newark. Then they finally got to action here in Uruguay, and Volkan Oezdemir has looked as good as he has in the Octagon in a second-round knockout.
Yeah, once again, this fight didn't disappoint. You know, as you said, they were matched up a couple of times. It never happened. Volkan, you know, he's very open about it. He went through some personal struggles, some legal troubles, you know, things with girlfriends and things like that. That's all gone, and you can see that. The proof is in the performance because he looked sensational tonight. He was very calm, composed, showed a level of maturity, I think, that we haven't seen before. And the finish, it was very, very nice. He was peppering him with shots, connecting with a lot of flying knees and jumping knees, and then knocked him out flat, cold. It was vicious.
Yeah, that was one of the standout performances certainly here in Uruguay. Let's spin our attention forward now to what will happen at UFC 241. It comes next Saturday night in Anaheim at the top of the marquee. Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, they will renew acquaintances after Daniel Cormier takes the belt from Stipe. 1 year later, they rematch.
Stipe is pissed. He's mad. He's angry. He feels that somehow he was kind of cheated out of his belt. And the reality is he wasn't. He lost. He got knocked out. But that's mixed martial arts. But he still feels, Stipe, that he's the better fighter. Of course, Daniel takes offense to that. Daniel thinks that he's the better fighter. And, of course, you're only as good as your last fight. Unfortunately for Stipe, he got knocked out in his last fight. This is a tremendous fight. Stipe Miocic is very, very motivated. Prior to the loss to Daniel, he was the only man to defend the belt 3 times. So, listen, his credentials speak for themselves. I cannot wait for this fight. It's personal. They're both saying a little smack back and forth. It's going to deliver.
Stipe set records in the amount that he defended his heavyweight belt. Daniel Cormier has been as good as you can be in that division. Is this for heavyweight greatest of all time?
I would say so. Listen, this saying, it's cliche, to beat the man, you've got to beat the man, you've got to beat the man. Well, he beat the man, and if he beats him again in a rematch, I say all the victories that Stipe had, they kind of go over to Daniel Cormier. And let's remember, DC is undefeated at heavyweight. He was the Strikeforce heavyweight champion, came down to light heavyweight, pardon me. I don't think DC will ever make lightweight. That's a fact. I don't think he's going to make light heavyweight ever again. But anyway, he became the champion there, went back up to heavyweight, you know, and he's the champ. If he wins, he's the greatest heavyweight of all time, for sure.
Well, it will be interesting to see how that plays out, certainly at UFC 241. Also interesting is the co-main event, the return of Nate Diaz 3 years after he last fought Conor McGregor. He will take on Anthony "Showtime" Pettis, who announced his presence in the welterweight division when he knocked out Wonderboy Thompson earlier this year.
Nate Diaz is such a tease. He's been kind of, you know, teasing us that he was going to come back for a long time now, but fortunately the wait is over. He's back. Listen, everybody loves Nate Diaz. Why? Because of his no-nonsense attitude and the way that he fights. He walks forward, he walks opponents down. He's got an iron chin, and he's got excellent strike. And of course, if he gets you down on the floor, you're in a world of trouble. Just ask Conor McGregor. So listen, Diaz is the real deal. It's great to see him back. Problem is, he's taking on one of the best technicians in the sport. Anthony Pettis, he was the champ at the WEC. He was a UFC champion. He's got clinical striking. And, of course, we know him for the show tank. It jumps off the fence and head kicks people. Listen, all that stuff is well and good. It's very, very flashy, but the fundamentals are there as well. Great conditioning, and this man's on a roll. As you just said, knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. It's going to be an incredible fight.
Well, the card is loaded because before that, another bout we've been thinking about for a long time. It has been rumored it shall happen in Anaheim. Paulo Costa takes on Yoel Romero at middleweight. Two of the most powerful guys that we have in the UFC.
I love this fight. I love this fight. I really do. Listen, Yoel, everybody knows the soldier of God goes out there and one punch, one knee, one kick, whatever it is, one pick you up and slam you on your head, you're going to go to sleep. But Borachinia, on the other side, is exactly the same way. Two guys with similar builds. They're both monsters. They're both knockout artists. I'm telling you, this fight's going to deliver. I can't wait. For me, that's the main event. Obviously, being a middleweight in the past, I can't wait for this one.
Well, for Michael, I'm Brendan from Uruguay, where we saw Valentina Shevchenko in dominant fashion. And now we both can't wait for UFC 241 next week.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and special content, subscribe to ESPN+.